Tonight, border states here in the West are closely watching two major moves by the Biden administration, one of them to restart border wall construction, the other to resume a deportation policy designed to slow the influx of migrants into this country. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. The Biden administration announced today it is waiving a number of federal laws to restart border wall construction in Texas, and this is already raising some concerns in other border states like Arizona. Despite that decision to resume construction, President Biden says he still does not believe a wall is the most effective way of solving the problems at the border. He blames Congress for this move because it did not agree to fund other projects.
I tried to get them to reappropriate, to redirect that money. They didn't. They wouldn't. And in the meantime, there's nothing under the law other than they have to use the money for what it was appropriated. I can't stop that.
Republicans, for their part, are celebrating this decision, saying this shows the Trump administration was right on the wall.
They need to first admit that Trump was right, they were wrong, that the border wall is effective.
And we are also learning tonight the Biden administration plans to resume deporting migrants to Venezuela. U.S. officials who don't want to be identified spoke with the Associated Press about those plans. They did not disclose when the flights would begin. Plans to resume deportations come just months after the Biden administration's move to increase protected status for Venezuelans who arrive here in the U.S. And tonight, the mayor of Yuma, Arizona, says he's worried that resuming border wall construction in Texas could potentially prompt more migrants to enter the country near his city. Fox 10's Stephanie Bennett has reaction tonight from Yuma, where there are calls for even more steps to be taken to address the immigration crisis.
The wall in Texas should be done just because it's an effective barrier and a force multiplier for Border Patrol. There's no real expectation that it 100% stops people from coming.
Over the years, Yuma Mayor Douglas Nichols has seen a lot of change along his section of the southern border. Recently, he says migrant crossings are down, but that could change as all eyes are on Texas after the Biden administration announced it waived 26 federal laws to allow border wall construction.
We always have to remember that the flow is really determined by the cartels. Right now, Yuma is actually pretty low compared to where we've been for the last 2 years. We're about 200 people a day, where we were over 1,000 a day. So why that is, again, is just a business decision. So how that's going to impact every port and every section of the border, it'd be difficult to tell. But anytime you make it more difficult to cross, it will have an impact in other locations.
Meanwhile, Dianne Stein, president of the Federation for American Immigration Reform, says it's a start, but the administration needs to address the bigger issue here. The current immigration process, he says, is broken.
The more people you let in, the more the backlogs get created, the more the political pressure builds, and the higher the numbers. The only way you stop it is by saying you can come in, but no one else can apply, and put down the hammer.
The DHS decision is a 180 from Biden's initial proclamation in 2021 to end border wall construction.
And that was Fox 10's Stephanie Bennett reporting for us tonight. Mourners gathered today outside of San Francisco City Hall to honor the life and legacy of the late Senator Dianne Feinstein. Friends, family members, and many well-known politicians attended the service today, many of them with roots in San Francisco. KTVU's Christian Captain shows us how Feinstein was remembered.
The late senator's memorial taking place right here on the front steps of San Francisco's City Hall, a full-circle moment celebrating her life where her political career began. The memorial service for the late Senator Dianne Feinstein drew mourners from near and far. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer among those making their way to California for a final farewell.
If I had to pick one word that I would associate with her, and there's so many good adjectives, but it would be integrity. She had that internal gyroscope, what she felt was right and what she felt was wrong, and that gyroscope propelled her to do many great things.
Political allies from the past also coming to pay their respects. Retired Senator Barbara Boxer said while she and Feinstein didn't always see eye to eye on every issue, there was a shared bond of doing the best they could for the people of California.
We worked so closely together to convince our colleagues. I'm barely 5 feet. She was like, for me, she was a giant. I don't know, 5'8". I'd say to her, I'll take the short ones, you take the tall ones. We would get it done.
Members of California's current delegation also made their way from Washington, D.C. Zoe Lofgren saying the late senator's legacy will be the legislation she helped to pass.
I think especially of the assault weapons ban that saved so many thousands of lives in our country. Her work on the Violence Against Women Act that probably wouldn't have happened at the time it did without her and all of the women whose lives were saved.
Representative John Garamendi remembers working side by side with the senator to preserve and protect Lake Tahoe.
She was an extraordinary person, and to be able to work with her for 40 years, learning along the way, helping each other on issues, Tahoe and water issues of California and on, just an extraordinary woman.
Representative Mark DeSaulnier says she was a San Franciscan through and through.
Look at today. She chose to come back to here. She didn't lie in state in the Capitol. She laid in state here at City Hall.
Senator Feinstein started her political career inside City Hall, first as a supervisor and finally as a mayor. She appointed Jim Gonzalez to fill a vacant supervisor seat in 1986.
As an elected official, a policymaker, what she once said to me was, what's the number one quality of a elected leader? What do they have to have? And she goes, one word, courage.
Current San Francisco office holders also remember a national figure who still wanted to know exactly what was happening in her hometown.
I did have the opportunity to meet with the senator last December, and one of the things she asked me was what were some of the key issues here that I needed her assistance with. And so we sat for a while and talked about the fentanyl crisis on our streets, and she offered her support, her office's support, to do not only anything to help San Francisco, but nationwide.
As a tribute, the Blue Angels in town for Fleet Week flew overhead. Those attending today's memorial said no matter how far the senator went or how high she rose through the ranks of government, she always followed the details coming out of the city, a San Franciscan at heart. In San Francisco, Christian Cafton, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
In Southern California, a funeral service was held today for the Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy who was gunned down in his patrol car in Palmdale last month. Hundreds of law enforcement officers turned out to honor 30-year-old Ryan Klinkenbroomer at the funeral mass in downtown L.A. The third-generation deputy was remembered as a hero who loved his job, and he was remembered for his dedication to service. He had just recently gotten engaged to be married. His fiancée said the day he died was exactly 2 years after their first date.
2 years after our first date on September 16th, I lost him. In a span of an hour, I went from planning my wedding with the love of my life to being escorted by a sheriff deputy to a helicopter to meet Ryan at the hospital.
Klinkenbroomer was shot while sitting in his patrol car at a traffic light. His accused killer was charged with murder, and he has pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity.
We're exhausted. We're at our limit.
Signs tonight of how the Kaiser healthcare workers' strike is taking a toll on patients. We have the message coming from one family forced to postpone a surgery.
And in weather, parts of the West Coast really heating up with some 80s and some 90s, even some record heat. We will eventually track some rain chances as we head into next week, and we'll have the update coming up.
Also, an unexpected moment for a California photographer. Tonight, it has her on a mission to find the surprising subjects of her work. For a second straight day, striking Kaiser workers along the West Coast are showing a lot of energy on the picket lines. They have one more day to go now in their 3-day work stoppage. We are beginning now to see how this strike is affecting patients. Fox 12's Carly Olson spoke to the wife of one man who had to put off surgery for a week.
We're exhausted. We're at our limit.
Lori Brucker's husband, Brad, was scheduled for a knee surgery. It would have been his 4th surgery in 2 years, a process of getting both knees replaced and fixing complications from previous surgeries.
He's had an extremely hard time and constant pain and mobility issues, not able to walk without help for 22 months.
But due to the Kaiser Permanente staff strike, the Bruckers were told the surgery is being postponed until late next week, an 8-day delay that makes all the difference for someone in Brad's condition.
It's been very difficult on him these past couple of years. Definitely affected his and our quality of life. His pain level for the past several months has been like at an 8 or 9.
Frontline staff members in California, Colorado, Oregon, and Washington state approved a 3-day strike over staffing shortages and a failure to come to an agreement with the hospital over a minimum wage.
We actually support the cause of their strike because we were able to see firsthand in the many, many weeks that Brad was in the hospital how shortage in staff affected his care.
Kaiser Permanente staff said in a statement, as a result of the 3-day strike, it's become necessary for us to postpone some non-urgent and elective surgeries to ensure we're able to care for the most critically ill patients with the most urgent need for surgery. We did so in consultation with each patient's physician. Brucker says watching her normally active, outdoorsy husband endure pain and be unable to walk has made it an emergency that she wishes would be a priority.
The discouragement that he feels is really, I guess it's even hard for me to comprehend it because he wonders if he'll ever be able to walk again and be able to do the things he loves.
Carly Olson, Fox 12 Oregon.
Tens of thousands of hospitality workers in Las Vegas say they're disappointed with this week's negotiations with MGM Resorts on a new contract. Members of the Culinary and Bartenders Union are threatening to strike if they don't reach a deal on wages, benefits, and job protections. Union members plan to move forward with talks with Wynn Resorts tomorrow. They have not revealed how talks went yesterday with Caesars Entertainment. None of those resort groups have responded to requests to comment on the negotiations. Police have identified another victim of the notorious Happy Face Killer who is serving 4 life sentences in an Oregon prison. Keith Jesperson killed at least 8 women across several states, including Oregon, Washington, and California. And this week, authorities identified Suzanne Kellenberg as one of his victims. Investigators used genetic testing to identify her nearly 3 decades after her body was found along a Florida freeway. Jesperson worked as a long-haul trucker and gained notoriety by sending confession notes to police and journalists and signing them with smiley faces. The former USC gynecologist awaiting trial on sexual abuse charges has died. 76-year-old George Tyndall found dead inside his Los Angeles home yesterday, according to his attorney. Tyndall pleaded not guilty last month to 27 felonies and was facing 64 years in prison if convicted. He's accused of abusing women who were patients at the university's health center. Tyndall worked at USC's health clinic for 3 decades, and those alleged crimes took place between 2009 and 2016. The university has paid out more than $1 billion to settle lawsuits brought by hundreds of women. While Tyndall's cause of death remains unclear, his attorney said there is no evidence of foul play or suicide.
Well, in West Coast weather, we're talking about some heat across portions of California, as you can see, from San Francisco down toward Los Angeles, down toward San Diego. All these areas under a heat advisory. That was the case for today. That will continue into your Friday. So essentially, we're talking about lots of neighborhoods in the 90s as we head into your Friday. All these areas in red, the stretch down from Monterey to San Luis Obispo to Santa Barbara to Los Angeles. Up in the Pacific Northwest, it was a very nice day today in Seattle. Not incredibly hot. Temperatures in the upper 70s, or upper 60s, I should say, close close to 70 degrees. And then in San Francisco, they have the heat advisory, 91 degrees earlier this afternoon, and pretty much the same story for tomorrow for your Friday. And then down out toward Phoenix, completely in the clear, a bit of some haze, triple digits, as you can see, 100 degrees in Phoenix earlier today. So once again, this big area of high pressure is in charge, producing the October heat. So just kind of the breakdown: sunshine, some nice conditions up in the Pacific Northwest. We talked about the heat advisory and just a mild forecast as you do work your way closer to Denver for tomorrow. That cooler pool of air is kind of moving out of the picture for right now. But as this high pressure begins to back off in early next week, that'll send in more clouds and cooler air, especially by Sunday and into Monday. Here's a satellite, just amazing as you can't see clear skies from Portland down toward Los Angeles, out toward Denver as well. Just a few clouds moving into Colorado, but that's just about it. So completely in the clear. We have those dry offshore winds in place that actually boost the fire danger somewhat up in Northern California. So we'll be watching out for those, those winds. They're not going to be incredibly strong, but still elevated fire danger for tomorrow. Take a look at the current numbers. As you can see, it is 79 degrees in Medford in southern Oregon, Palm Springs 94, and some 70s in Los Angeles and in San Diego. Here is the plan over the next few days. As you can see, Seattle, they're not picking up the heat, just some comfortable temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. San Francisco, a beautiful day. It'll be a hot day. Remember, they have the heat advisory, 90 degrees for your Friday, but cooling things off into the weekend. That'll be the same story for Los Angeles. Phoenix back up into the triple digits over the next couple days and still close to 100 degrees on Sunday. No major snow just yet out toward Colorado. As you can see, Denver mainly in the little bit of a rebound in temperatures over the weekend into the 70s with more sunshine. So just talking about some heat, but Alex, into next week we could be talking about some more clouds and maybe some shower chances in the Pacific Northwest and Northern California as early as Monday afternoon.
All right, yeah, we are getting ready for a big shift in the weather pattern.
Absolutely.
Mark, thank you. An aggressive mosquito species is spreading across Nevada. Fox 5's Les Crittenden explains why it will be difficult to control this mosquito population.
So they're a very difficult mosquito to have effective control if people are not doing their part to manage the situation in their own backyards.
It's a small, very aggressive mosquito that has found a home here in the Las Vegas Valley. It's called the Aedes aegypti. There are 18 types of mosquito species in our area, according to Vivek Raman, an environmental health supervisor with the Southern Nevada Health District.
Aedes aegypti, also known as the yellow fever mosquito, we first identified in North Las Vegas area in 2017.
From North Las Vegas area, the Aedes aegypti are spreading.
Now we found it in 32 zip codes in 2023.
Worldwide, mosquitoes are known to spread diseases among humans. What concerns the health district is that the Aedes aegypti are unlike other mosquitoes.
It preferentially feeds on people, and therefore what it does is once it's in a community, it just entrenches itself.
Here in the valley, the breed can help spread the West Nile virus if we don't do our part to control their numbers. Mosquitoes like to lay their eggs in stagnant bodies of water, puddles, and unkept swimming pools, but not this mosquito. Stagnant swimming pools are not the choice for the yellow fever mosquitoes. They prefer to lay their larvae in small bodies of water, as little as this.
Even just inverted buckets, for example, have a little area that can collect, a quarter-inch of water. Things like that really should be dumped out, especially as we get into cooler temperatures.
Those cooler temperatures and even drier stretches of weather won't necessarily kill off the larvae of these mosquitoes.
Those eggs remain intact, even though they dry out with the water. They remain intact, and then the next time water comes through, it rehydrates those Aedes aegypti eggs.
The best way to try and control the Aedes aegypti is to remove standing water around your home. Les Crittenden, Fox 5 News, local, Las Vegas.
One professional photographer never expected to take these pictures while she was working in Yosemite. Coming up tonight, why she is asking for your help to find the people in these surprise engagement photos. Also, a major announcement from the WNBA, the expansion team that's coming to the San Francisco Bay Area. Financing a home here in the U.S. is now the most expensive it's been in 20 years. A 30-year fixed mortgage rate has surged up to 7.49%. That's the highest level since December of 2000. Rates in 2022 were almost a full percent cheaper than they are today, averaging 6.66%. Higher rates can force homeowners and borrowers to pay hundreds more dollars every month. And in doing so, it also limits how much they can afford in a housing market that is already very much out of reach for so many Americans. Basketball fans in the San Francisco Bay Area will soon have a new WNBA team to root for. The league announced plans today for an expansion team that will begin playing in 2025. KTVU's Bailey O'Carroll shows us how some people are already making some bold predictions for the team's success.
And I'm very pleased to announce that the WNBA is coming to the Bay Area.
It's officially official. A WNBA team is coming to the Bay Area, and the Lakeums are going to ensure that the now nameless team is successful and quickly.
And I'm telling you right now, we will win a WNBA championship in the first 5 years of this franchise.
The team will start playing games in 2025. They'll play home games at Chase Center in San Francisco, but their practice facilities and front office will be headquartered in Oakland, where the Warriors practiced not too long ago.
Our WNBA players need to have the best facility, just like our NBA players have. We're really fortunate to have the facility in Oakland. That's where I went to work for my first 17 years working for the Warriors. That's where Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, all the guys practiced every day up until 4 years ago.
San Francisco Mayor London Breed called this monumental for the next generation of women and girls in the Bay Area.
This is just one step further to making sure that the public understands and realizes the value of what San Francisco does in terms of being this place that is not only an amazing, beautiful city, but also a beacon of hope for even the next generation.
Some pretty notable women's basketball superstars, of course, in the crowd for this announcement today, joined by politicians, basketball executives, WNBA executives. One notable absence, well, that was Oakland Mayor Shang Tao. The Warriors were asked if she was invited. They said she was, but that she said she had prior commitments and couldn't make it today. Reporting in San Francisco, I'm Bailey O'Carroll, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, so that was the story in Northern California. In Arizona, the Phoenix Mercury will soon have a new and improved practice space. Phoenix Suns owner Matt Ishbia announced today he's spending upwards of $100 million to build a dedicated space for the women's basketball team. Ishbia will also fund a downtown campus for the Mercury and the Suns employees. Right now, the Mercury share a practice space with the Suns in North Phoenix. The new Mercury facility is expected to include several different basketball courts, a workout facility, as well as a fan store. A mission to space with ties to Arizona was set to get started earlier today, but it's been rescheduled for next week. This mission involves launching a spacecraft from the Kennedy Space Center. The goal is to reach Psyche, a metal asteroid that's orbiting the sun between Mars and Jupiter. Scientists believe it's made largely of nickel, iron, metal, and much more. The mission is being led by Arizona State University's School of Earth and Space Exploration.
Traveling to an asteroid, a metal asteroid, is very unique because we think it's the core of what used to be a planet. So to be able to discover a planet at its core is extremely unique.
Once launched, the spacecraft will travel to the asteroid using solar electric propulsion. It's expected to arrive at Psyche in 2026 and spend 21 months orbiting the asteroid. A photographer who captured images of an unforgettable moment for one couple in Yosemite needs your help tonight. Allie Deary says she quickly snapped a few shots when she noticed a man getting down on his knee to propose at Taft Point inside the park. A friend of the couple was recording on a cell phone, but Deary wants to share these still images with the couple, and she's trying to find them. The photographer says anyone who recognizes the couple in these photos can reach her at alliedearyphotography.com. We hope that they get those photos. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight for West Coast Wrap. You can stay up to date on everything we are covering online.